Hi, I'm Charles Reid, and I'm a painter in oil and watercolor and have been painting for many years. And one of the things I do these days is doing a great deal of teaching. And one of the most popular parts of the class are the critiques. So we're going to do a series of critiques in this film, and I hope you'll find them helpful and useful. So let's get started. This one's of St. Paul's Cathedral. And is the artist David has used pen line. Unfortunately, I don't use pen line, but the things I'll speak of I think will apply. But his technique is lovely, and he draws beautifully. I think there's too much importance in this section of the cathedral, and I would like to suggest that there should be more importance up around here into these buildings. And I feel that the figures are a little bit. I don't mean to say this badly, but a little bit cliched. I'd like to see a little bit more using these wonderful photographs, having a little bit more. These look like stock figures from an architectural rendering. So I think I'd cut down a few of them, but in mine, I think I'd like to suggest how we could make them look a little bit more human. So let's start here. Now I'm going to plan using this format. I'm going to lightly plan with a single line, and I want to emphasize the fact that we are going to be using a single line. So I'm going to start, I'll take the photograph over here. And very lightly, I'm going to do a kind of a silhouette type of drawing. And this is the very, very top, and I just like to get myself centered. Down, and then I'm going to go down around. And I like to paint not only the outline, but draw rather. I like to draw what's inside here too. So I'm going to cut across and down. As I'm working, I like to work from inside out, and as I work away from the cathedral, as I said earlier, I don't like all these buildings, so I think I'm going to stop right here. This is one good reason to do an initial drawing. Okay, now over here, and I'd like to have, these are older buildings, and I think they're a bit more interesting. So they're going to start intersecting here. Now what I'm going to do is make, I think I'll make these figures a little bit larger. I'm going to take this couple over here. Okay, that's my basic outline. What I do next is lose some of my lines, because since this is a very specific building, I am going to go back and work a little bit more inside here. Now, I could have done this initially, I guess, but I think these are too dark. I'm going to be drawing with my brush a lot here. Okay, I'm going to go to a cobalt blue, and so my carmine, and a little ochre. I'm going to go in the cupola, a little dark. What I do is even though there isn't a shadow in here, I think I'm very keen on cast shadows and shadows, so I'm going to pretend there's a little bit of that in here, and maybe emphasize a little bit of that. Whoops, this brush isn't acting well. And then I kind of, maybe while it's wet, add a few little stops. Okay, and then a couple of things along the bottom here. I'm going to go to this is a number 3 brush. I'm going to go slightly larger. Okay, now the base of I'd skip now. This is the lighter section in here, so I'm going to skip. And there's kind of a pinky sort of a quality down in here. I'm going to start there. Maybe add a little bit more of the blue. You can see the palette. I mean, I probably have a little too much water in here. Now let's draw this up a bit. Go to the blue. I might try a little paint. That's too dark. I was going to try a little Payne's gray in there, just. If you don't like it, by the way, you should keep that palette clean. Now again, I'm going to suggest a little bit. I think I'm going to paint outside too here a little bit, out into where the sky is going to be. Okay, now we're going to go into some sky right away. I'm going to use some cerulean, I guess. Some of this dome was going to be, instead of, I think the initial sky could have been a little darker to pull out the cathedral like so. But I like to paint in the background as well as in the foreground. And on this side, I'm going to lose it a little bit more. You could warm up the sky a little bit with a little carmine down here. But then I'll pass, I'm going to use the sky here to pull out, to show the top of there. Okay. Now when this dries, I'm going to add a few of the windows and stuff, but right now, I will go back into the building. And on this side, I'm going to show it. I think it'll be a little nicer if I have this side a bit in shadow. So when I am emphasizing one side, in other words, with more specific shapes, instead of having them all, there's a nice variety actually in here, but I think I wouldn't have equal darks here, and then over there. I think I'd stress one side. And try not to make them all the same color, so maybe I'd add a little bit more earth color in one of the two of these. And maybe lift, if it's getting too rigid. And now this is wet and wet over there. And these are, I think I'll add just a couple of the windows up here. But maybe I'm getting too much blue. I think I'll go a little bit warmer. Warmer meaning I'm adding a little more earth color. And you want to make these look a little varied. And I think I should emphasize a little bit more up here. That was kind of wild, wasn't it? A little bit too much blue in there. That was cobalt blue, but I'm just trying to get a little excitement in there.